Hey, Knicks fans. Just want to take a couple minutes to talk about Kevin Durant, specifically the report about him by ESPN's Shams Charania.
Unlike at the trade deadline when he was almost traded to the Warriors, the Suns, Kevin Durant, they would work together on any trade. But I can tell you guys this, back at the NBA trade deadline, there were a list of teams that there was mutual interest with Kevin Durant and those teams from my understanding. And that's Minnesota, that's New York, that's Houston, San Antonio, Miami.
Okay.
Those are the types of teams, from my understanding, that had interest then, and I expect them all to be in the mix this offseason.
Now, the Knicks and the Suns, neither of them could take more money in than they send out. So any deal would have involved at least a third team, one that could take more money in without having to send it out. What would a type of deal have looked like? Well, lots of different options that could have probably worked. Have to be wary of roster spots and moving pieces here. But there are a few trades that I just wanted to talk through, and we can go from there. First, Karl Anthony Towns. Now, if the Knicks traded Cat, his salary, $49.2 million, that's about $2 million shy of Kevin Durant's $51.18 million salary. So the Knicks would have had to have attached about $2 million worth of salary. That's a veteran minimum player. They would have sent that player to a third team. That's how you could get it one way. Of course, chances are, if this were real, the Knicks would have wanted to add Karl Anthony Towns, or rather add Kevin Durant to Karl Anthony Towns. So then there's the thought of, what's another move that could work? A second one would be OG Anunoby and Mitchell Robinson. Those two players combined for $50,956,114, which is just shy of what Kevin Durant makes. So the Knicks would have had to throw in a third player, making small salary, just for the math to work. That third player would have gone to another team, a third one that could have absorbed the salary like we discussed. That's certainly one other option. And then another, just to evaluate, is the idea of the Knicks sending Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart out. That math would have been $41.4 million. That's about $10 million short. So the Knicks would have had to find a way to get that salary back up. Would have been really tough for them to do that. If there were a move here, would have to be inclined to think that it were OG and Mitch. But if I'm being candid, it just doesn't really pass the smell test for me. Something about it where, while Kevin Durant, elite player, not saying he's the reason you don't move OG Anunoby and Mitchell Robinson, just the sort of thing where perhaps you reevaluate it in the offseason because it might be easier with certain pieces to make that move. But in terms of how this operated or how it could have gone, I'm a little skeptical. But that's what the numbers say. Tell me what you think.